Hey, what's going on, fam, man? And we're starting up another episode, man, of Couples Connect with Kevin and
Tanya.
yeah, man. So this is a podcast where we talk about marriage, mindset,
Money.
money, all that good stuff, man. So, and we keeping it transparent, man. We open, we keeping it honest, we keeping it real. So this is where it goes down, right? We just want to create a vulnerable space where couples can come together, talk about life, man, marriage, and all those things in between. So today, man, we are super, super duper excited. We have an amazing, amazing couple today, man, that's coming through to kind of give you some game, man, some nuggets about how to do business, man, as a couple in this real estate game and make some amazing things happen, building wealth for your family, do some crazy stuff. So, man, please help us, man. Welcome the one, the only David and Brenda Moreno. Welcome to the family. That's right, Moreno. Yes. Yes. All right. Good deal. So what's going on, fam? How y'all doing? What's going on?
Good.
Good.
Feels good. Excited to be here. Thanks for having us on. Yep.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. We know you guys are super, super busy. And we wanted you guys on the podcast because we think you guys are doing some amazing things as a couple in the community. And we just want to let people know what you guys got going on and inspire people because I know there's a lot of people want to do what you guys are doing, be in that space, but maybe just don't know how to get started, don't know what to do. So Ty and I are like, man, we got to get Dave and Brenda on the podcast. So welcome to
Thank you.
So I know you guys personally. My wife kind of know you just from talking today. But the listeners, the viewers, they don't know who you guys are, right?
Yeah.
For those who may not know, tell us a little bit about David and Brenda, man. How you guys got started, married, all that good stuff.
Kid. Oh God.
Yeah. We could talk for a whole hour just on that. I guess I'll start. So my name is David Moreno. I'm a mortgage advisor. It's my job to help clients find the right mortgage solution to help them either build wealth or move into the next season in their life in a new home. That kind of leads into how we started our real estate business and operations and all that kind of thing. We have been married for 12 years, and actually our anniversary is next Sunday. So June 9th. And yeah, it's been one hell of a rodeo. It's been a ton of fun. Yeah. So we met in 2008, and I was working at Best Buy. She was working at a partner company called Flexi Compras that operated inside our store. So we sold products in the same spaces. We partnered on selling TVs and appliances and all these different things. And a work relationship turned into a personal relationship after she shot me down 3 times.
Yes.
So
You shot your shot, Dave?
points. I shot too many shots, and I was gonna keep shooting. I was not gonna stop. And for me, it was one of those things. Like I knew my single life was over when I met her. I just had to convince her that was real. So
I mean,
What was your hesitation?
Well, so at the time, I already had a daughter. She was probably around 1, so I was a single mom. So, to bring someone in and, it was hard for me. So yeah, I told him no 3 times. And he kept insisting. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's see where it leads. And, the best decision ever. So, yeah.
I'm glad that's recorded.
So 13, you say 13 years now?
12 years this year. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And you got any other kids like when y'all came together or?
Yeah. So I adopted our oldest daughter. She's 18 this year, and we have 2 boys that are 8 and almost 10.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love the way that you're stepping up when you say you adopted her daughter to make her your own. We had talked to another couple, and the guy, his wife, he adopted her child as well. So
Yeah.
kudos to the men. So you guys are stepping up like that.
Yeah. I always tell people, for me, it wasn't about anything other than choosing both of them.
Yes.
And even to this day, when I have real hard conversations with my 18-year-old, now that she's getting ready to go do life, it's about choosing to be the person and choosing to be in those lives. And I remind her that every time I choose her mom, I choose her too.
Wow. Yeah.
So
That's beautiful. Brenda, how did that make you feel?
I feel amazing. Maybe that's the reason why I married him. It's just at the time, I mean, I was 18, 19, when I had my daughter. And then so I met him. And so we were still very young. Yeah. So, and having to make a decision of, okay, should, we bring someone else into our lives? Like, I was going to college. I was, I had her working. I mean, I had a full plate. And then I had to, then David, David's no. But, again, it goes back to, faith in God. And I prayed. And I said, if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. And, you lead the way, God. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
12 years later.
We still have conversations about that, every night. And it's like, what if I had said no? Where would we have been? So I'm glad I said yes. So
absolutely. So it's a beautiful thing, man, when couples can, endure the first few years of marriage and kind of get to a point to where, you got some skin in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
12 years strong, right? Doing some great things together. And I think that's the big thing that Tanya and I wanted to bring you guys on, because we are also a couple who do business together, right? And when we see other couples who are doing some amazing things together, we know that's an amazing, amazing thing, and it looks good on the outside. But we know there's challenges that go with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have challenges, within our own marriage, right? In different roles that we play in the business and different things like that. So in your business of real estate is what you guys are in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, how long have you been a realtor now?
So I'm a mortgage advisor. I work at the financing part of everything. Okay. That has been 13 years. 2011 is when I started.
Wow. And Brenda, you're in interior design?
I do interior design, yeah. So prior to doing what I'm doing, I was a buyer. So buyer for a big retail company. So I would buy, furniture, accessories. So I've been... It was 10 years in the business. So it all started when COVID hit. There was a lot of layoffs happening, and unfortunately I was one of them. And so at the time, mortgage just took off. So I stepped back and I let him do his thing. And then I've always been a worker. So I just couldn't stay back. I had to do something. So when we decided to buy our own our first short-term rental, I was like, this is it. I get to start designing again. I still get to start doing something. And then we had a friend that was also buying a cabin at the same time. So I was like, hey, let me decorate it for you. Let me see. I'd like to start my own business and see where this leads to. And it kind of took off from there, because then our cabin neighbors were asking, hey, can you decorate my cabin? And so it just kind of took off from there. And so I've been doing my business for about, 2.5 years. So it's just, it's just kind of how it happened. So
did you guys, did y'all see early on how the connection could have been amazing compared to what you do and what she does and how they can all come together?
100%. 100%. A lot of what I talk to my clients about is not just doing the mortgage on one property and then that's it, shake hands, high five, drink the champagne, right? I want to be a solution across the board.
Yeah.
So for those that are purchasing short-term rentals or purchasing investment properties, right? I always bring up Brenda's business to say, hey, you're going to need something to get people in the door, right? In the world of short-term rentals specifically, it's your pictures. If your pictures aren't good and you're looking at Airbnbs, there's 100 other properties just like yours. What's going to make yours stand out? And it's the decoration, the features of the property, right? So being able to connect that. And furthermore, you're going to need a CPA because your taxes are going to change. You're going to need an attorney because you got to do different things on the attorney side, right? And all that's going to change, right? So being a solution and building partnerships with attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, people on the ground, handyman, like different things like that is always something that I've strived to do. So when the opportunity came up to partner with Brenda and say, you're going to need interior design in the short-term rental space, right? It was an easy fit.
Wow. Yeah. I love it. So when did y'all actually start again? I'm sorry, the particular year when y'all did y'all first property together. And let's go back. These properties are cabins. They're not just like a regular, residential home. It's cabins in Broken Bow.
Broken Bow, Oklahoma. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oklahoma.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
First, just what, 20?
We built our first one, took about a year. That was done in December of 21.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I started my business that April before, so I was already Woodsy Wonder is our cabin, and that's kind of how it started. So
Shameless plug, wondercabin.com.
As I started in April, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna have this cabin, so let's it's a business. Let me start my business, and I started decorating since then. So our cabin closed at the end of the year, and so did our friends. So
Okay.
yeah, so I just kind of took off from there. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So I know y'all been working with y'all work on a property at Broken Bow with a mutual friend, our good friend the Bonatellas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cynthia and Ronnie. Yeah. We decorated their place.
Cynthia and Ron doing their property. So how was it working with them? Because I know that's family, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
Very close.
I'll say, so again, these cabins take about, it just depends on the builder, but anywhere from 8 months to, it could be a year. It could be more, again, depends on the builder, but, their builder was the same as ours. So we knew they were going to finish pretty much on time. And so, whenever I was decorating for them, every month we always go up there, whether to check for, to see how our cabin's doing, but we also go and check our clients' cabins. So, we would always go up there and, say, hey, you have rooms, you have, a kitchen, but, it was great, when it came to the decorating part, that was more Cynthia.
Right.
So, she told me what she wanted, and we tried to make it, happen.
Yeah.
Her vision, and so, but I'm just glad that they loved it. It's always nerve wracking, seeing if what if the client doesn't like it at the end, But again, just working with them one on one and making sure that we're meeting all their expectations. So,
And then on top of that, you guys, they're not just your client, they're your friend.
yes,
Right.
So you want to make sure that everything is taken care of for them, and I think that could be a little nerve wracking because you're like, okay, I want to make sure I please not just my client, but my friend, because I want to keep this with you.
yes, yeah,
So you kind of like go overboard. But
yeah.
I want to go back a little bit. So he created this space for you to come in and decorate the Huns. What was your thought process when he said, okay, you can come in and decorate these homes? Well, however y'all talked about it. Were you like, do I really want to work with my husband? Or is it going to be fun? Or is it going to not be fun? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I think at the time it was his business by himself, then my business at this it was separate. It wasn't together.
Yeah.
It kind of came through like later on, because we were trying to figure out how things would work, because clients were reaching out to me, but these clients already had a mortgage, broker, or they already had a loan, so it was kind of pretty much already late in the game, on that side. But I guess I'm trying to figure out when we truly came together. I think it was not until after they would meet David. They're like, oh, he does mortgage. Okay, maybe we need to look at whenever we need to refinance and stuff like that. But it wasn't until we were saying, okay, David does mortgages and then I do decorating. So it was talking to them, letting them know that, hey, I have a husband that does that too. So I think that's when we finally started coming together. But at first it wasn't. It was like David does mortgage, Brenda does decorating. Yeah.
So when y'all came together and you guys do you work closely together?
It's very much business driven, right? So when I'm working on my business, we are working on my business.
Okay.
When we're working on her business, we are working on her business, right? So when we do decorations, and we're both very business oriented. We're both very authoritarian in our business.
Yeah.
So when I'm working on her projects, I'm her employee.
There you go.
She tells me what to do, and I do it.
He's my project manager. I thought they had a system, and but yes. So
That's good. So you're not coming in trying to tell her, oh, that doesn't.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That thought.
He does his
Yeah, I have ideas. I'm just not very good.
But you keep that to yourself. It's like Kevin and I, we work closely together with our business, and we had to learn how to stay in our own lane or even create that lane first. Because we would kind of like he want to do this, I want to do that, and it took us. It took us a while.
It took a little minute,
really come together, and now it's like, okay, cool. You do your thing, I do my thing. We bring all this together, and it's all good. Because we understand that it's really hard for couples to really work together. Some couples that work together, it drives them apart.
Yes.
And some couples, it brings them together.
Yes.
So it seems like what you guys are doing is actually bringing you together. And you seem very happy. And
no, I think one of the keys there is understanding what your partner is really good at and letting them do that really well. And like there have been several times where I see what Brenda designs on the screen or whatever she's working on, and I look at it and I'm like, I can't see that in real life. I can't see that when it comes to life, but she does, and I know she does. And then it comes to life at the end of the project, and it's incredible. And I know that if I try to get in anywhere in the middle of that process, it's not going to come out what the client wants or what she sees at the end of the day. But at the same time, when it's my turn to take the lead, she knows what I'm really good at. And we've gotten to a point through all of the arguments and conversations where we can see where someone is really passionate and where someone is really good at doing something and allowing them to be great in that space.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll also say that, especially when I first started my business, like I mentioned, I'm like talking to people. It's kind of like I get anxiety. So at the beginning, like my first client, I remember being in Broken Bow with family, and I had my first client reached out, and he was like, yeah, well, I want to know more about your services and how does it work? And at the time I didn't really have it figured out. And I'm like, David, what do I say? He was so used to talking to people. And one of the things that I've learned from him is that you have to, he can't always be there to do things for me. You're gonna have to learn and make your own mistakes. And so we would kind of role play sometimes because I felt like I needed it. But then I would still do it, and it's fine. Like I was just honest to my clients and say, hey, this is my first time, so I'm still kind of learning myself, and I'm very grateful for my first clients because they know how hard it was for me, and but they were great, and they just we just went with it. And again, first year's always a learning experience, whether for pricing. For me, it was pricing because I really didn't know how to price things, and I didn't realize how much work it really truly was until like after I've actually done it. And so but I will say he was a great mentor. So even though we're married, like he was my mentor, and how to talk to people, how to in that aspect. So
that's a great perspective to have. In terms of like, to say your husband was your mentor. I don't think I've ever heard a spouse say that the other spouse was their mentor. You know what I'm saying? So to get in a space where you just kind of humble yourself and say, hey, this is what you're great at. And this is where I need help. Right? Help me, strengthen me in that area. That's pretty dope.
That is. And I'm glad you said that because I've never heard it like that before either. But I think that your spouse have to be a mentor in order for you to look at them as a mentor. And it's how you communicate right? If you can go to your husband because you figure, okay, I can go to him. He's great at communicating with me, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
So, and every marriage is so. That's kind of why we don't hear the live thing.
Yeah, it's hard. I will say, because sometimes, like, you know, there would be arguments. He'd say, "Well, you know, say like this," and I'm like, "But I don't want to say it that way." Like, you know, so that happens, you know. It's like, but that's not me. Like, you know, but then say it your own way. You know, that this is my way, but you know, you have to come up with your own way. What you know. So all of that is just a learning experience on itself. So
yeah. So I already know this, but I'm gonna just ask it anyway. Yeah. But extrovert, introvert.
You know, not naturally.
Really?
I was, I'm the youngest out of 5.
Okay.
So I always wanted to stay in the background. Like, keep your head low, don't get in trouble, let them mess up, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I moved into sales and I was starting at Best Buy and then moving to a finance company in sales, I was forced to be out talking to people, or else I don't get to eat, right? Being a commissioned salesperson, you eat what you kill, right? So naturally, I'm fully introverted, but I've gotten to a point where if I get to a point where I don't talk to a lot of outside people for a long time, I start to get a little anxious. And I'm like, I need to go for a walk. I need to go out with people, right? And fill that cup while I'm doing that. But naturally, like, if I call it a social battery, if my social battery is low, don't talk to me. if I'm just exhausted by people, which does happen, just I'll go play video games or something, or go play a round of golf by myself, recharge, and then we can get back to it.
Cleaning is mine. I love to clean, and that's my way of distressing. And I guess we all have our, that's it. Which I didn't understand at the beginning. I'm like, why are you playing video games? Like, you could help me clean. But again, and those were arguments at the beginning of our marriage, but we realized that is how he distresses. And mine is I clean, and that's how I distress. So just kind of knowing each other, learning how to fight. I mean, we had a lot, you know, the first 5 years were hard. We're trying to learn, you know, how to talk to each other. And, you know, he was more at the beginning of like, we have to talk it, let's fix it, you know, right now that we're in the moment. And I'm like, no, I need a day, you know, I need to sleep on it. That's how, you know.
Really?
So, yes.
You can use it as vice versa.
Yeah.
Use it as the other way around.
Yeah.
You know, the men, we don't like to talk about stuff.
No.
We were talking about it, right? And the women rated, like, we need to talk right now before you go to sleep, before you close your eyes. Let's talk.
And no.
Yeah, I think it took us a while to get to even to that point.
Yes.
Because it's looking at my parents never argued in front of us. So I never saw how they argued or learned how to argue with someone I deeply care about or a partner. Not that that's a bad thing or anything. So Mom, if you're watching, but I really had to learn. My dad always used to say, and it's a reference, is you never let the sun go down on your anger.
Yeah.
So I thought that meant the same day. Like, we have to figure this out before sunset. we're gonna go. But it's more of not letting a season pass in your life before resolving any conflict or any issue that you have. So that took a lot for me, because and even now in my business, when there's conflict, when there's issues, when there's things we have to be resolved, I lean in. I say, hey, this is a problem. Let's solve it now. Right. But I can't do that with Brenda, especially when it's a highly emotionally charged conversation.
Yeah.
We have to be able to process that, understand it, and then communicate it with a clear mind.
Because then you say things that you don't really truly mean.
Right.
So again, it was all about learning and learning how to fight. Really, yeah.
I love how you said you don't let a season go by. That was really good. You know what? This is so good because right now we have people who are going to be watching this, and you talked earlier about the two coming together because we had the same conflict. I also went to him because I'm an introvert. And before we got into the business of running our race company, I didn't talk to people. And so I had to come out of my comfort zone it would make me sick in the inside. I would cry sometimes. I would tell Kevin, I can't do it. Why don't you go and talk to them? I cannot do that.
That's how I was surviving
100%. Yes.
So it's good to know that you're not alone if you're in business with your spouse, that this is what happens, but you get over that hump. The more you communicate and talk to each other and start to look at your spouse as a mentor instead of someone who is just trying to put you out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I will say, I've never heard you call me a mentor, and that means a lot to me.
What happens?
Only on Couples Connection.
Yes, that's actually really special to me, because it's and thinking back to those early conversations on how we talk to clients and things like that, I took it so far as to write out a script, like organizing conversations, because I've been in sales so long. Like the keys to developing a sales process are something that I genuinely understand. So I drew out this whole sales process, what to talk about, how to talk about it, when to get to it, like how to sell the process of being an interior designer. And she goes, "Great, I don't want to do it." What? I did all this effort and just growing through, but I didn't as on this side of things, I had to learn what you're good at, allow you to present that forward, and then be able to build the sales conversation around that. And then find a way that you can communicate that in your own voice instead of using my voice that I'm projecting to.
Right. Yeah. You had to listen. You wasn't listening.
Oh, for sure.
At the very beginning.
For sure.
You were trying to fix it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So tell me this. So just being a little bit more specific into some of the things that you guys dealt with, did some of the personal issues in your marriage, did it bleed into the business portion of it, or vice versa? Did some of the things that you guys dealt with, did it kind of align at some point? And if so, what were some of those issues?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Only on Couples Connection.
I would say sometimes you could tell, and I wonder, like, I guess if we were just not in the right mindset, you know, I would say sometimes I could hear, because you know he would work from home sometimes, and so I could hear not himself. You could tell when he was not himself, and so. And I knew that it was because maybe we had a type of argument, you know, something that we're not in the right space. But you can tell when that happens.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's especially when we're both running two businesses that are in the similar industry, but they're not the same.
Okay.
You have your work to do, I have my work to do, and then we have the work to do together.
Yeah.
I think when I really got frustrated was when her work started to prevent me from doing my work.
And
that's really hard for me, because I have, at the same time she has people relying on her, I have people relying on me. And that's a huge responsibility that I carry into my job every day. If I don't do what I need to do to make something happen, people don't get a house. People don't get to add another investment property to their portfolio, or whatever the mission is for that person. So that for me is a serious sense of responsibility that I keep. So when loading up a 26-foot box truck prevents me from finishing an application or gathering documents or talking to people that I need to talk to, it's incredibly frustrating for me.
Right.
And that's something that I have worked really hard not to let impact the job that needs to be done for her clients. But it is definitely something that shows through.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? Are you still dealing with that, or you found a way to balance that?
We're still dealing with it.
Fully still dealing
because we're still, you know, we're very, like, my business is very small, you know, to where, you know, I do rely a lot on David when it comes to driving or you know, loading all our furniture, driving the truck 4 hours, unloading, you know, and we've have found people that can help us build stuff in Broken Bow. The hard part is finding someone here that is willing to drive 4 hours and willing to, you know, build and stay overnight. And because it gets hefty, the price gets pretty hefty from here to there. So the best thing to do is really for me to have my own people. But again, in order to hire and have my own people, my business has to grow a bit more.
Right.
No, and it has to make sense. So right now it doesn't make sense for us. So David is my go-to person to be able to do all of that. But so we work around all of our, I work around his schedule, he works around my schedule, and trying to figure that out. And sometimes we're like, okay, maybe let me not take so many clients so that you're still doing your thing, but I'm still being fulfilled in mine, so, and we're still taking care of, business. So, cause it's his mortgage business, my business, Lux cabin business. And then we still have Woodsy Wonder and the short-term rentals. So that's and kids and then our home. So it gets, it's a lot. And so sometimes we're like, okay, maybe I should step back from designing a little bit, or maybe trying to figure out other avenues, maybe just doing, say, virtual design, or maybe just staying within Dallas, something that's close versus, having to drive 4 hours and, having those clients over there. But most of my business is there. That's where it's, it's really 95% of my business over there. And so it's just trying to figure out for me to figure that out. And so we're still dealing with that. So there's no actual solution right now.
Right. It's interesting duality for me, because I want you to win and I want you to be fulfilled, and I don't want to take away from your business growing so you can do more. But at the same time, I can't let my business take a backseat.
Right.
So it's a really challenging
and that would be
dynamic
something to do too. Yeah. So, but we're trying to find a balance where, like right now we have one last cabin that we're going to do. And I said, okay, summer's coming. I want to spend time with the kids. So I'm not taking any new business. I will start taking business again, maybe in August when we, the kids go back to school, and then he can focus on summer. Summer is really busy for him. So again, trying to figure out a balance and, knowing when this his season is, when my season is, and things like that. So it's still a learning process. It's always it's never ending. So.
And it's still very new to you too.
Yes.
This is good because, you're going to have a couple like that's trying to figure out that balance. And, okay, we just got to work this until we figure out how we can make this all come together.
Yes. Yeah.
But you guys are hanging in there and you're making it work as best you can.
Yeah.
Before we move on to something else, because I know we want to talk about earlier what you were mentioning, I was very intrigued by what you were talking about with, as far as like cabins and renting them. I want to ask this because I know that Satan is busy in marriages. I mean, he wants to blow marriages up to pieces. Has there ever been anything that came against your marriage while building your business or just being married that almost blew you into pieces, but you said, no, Satan, not this home. Not this home.
Go for it.
Who's going first? Who's going first?
Go for it. We keeps it real. We keeps it real.
Yeah.
It happens, and I will say at the beginning of the year. So, in mortgage at the beginning of the year, it was so slow for him, and I will say my business actually is what helped us take care of a lot of the bills. So it is money.
Yeah.
That it's all That's when he likes to sneak in whenever we're not doing the best when it comes to money, and it's many times where we're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, for sure. I think on that topic, the other thing I can think of was learning how to argue with each other, because there was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration that could have led to resentment, but figuring that out was key. But to stay on your topic, I think the reason that was so tough was really partially because of my pride, because I wanted to be the one to provide for the family. I wanted to be the one to bring the solution to the table. And in that space, I had to take a step back and realize that I am providing by supporting her business and bringing income into the house, right? So providing doesn't mean doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Which was just hard for me.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted to be the guy.
And I think that's for most men, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being honest about that, because We think that, nothing is supposed to happen. We think that everything is always going to be good, but we learned that we have to depend on each other in those seasons.
Yes.
It's not the time to run or the time to buckle. It's a time to come together and ask how we're going to make this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the whole financial piece is such a big piece with marriages, man, because I mean, the same dynamic that you just mentioned, we've been there a couple of times, roller coasters where I was the breadwinner, then she was the breadwinner, and she was, I didn't have a job, and, but she's been consistent, right? And because I'm the risk taker, and I always, there have been major things that I've done that put us in financial ruins, and then we rebuild again, right? So, and that made me look at it, value money differently, because you can always go out and make money, man. If I don't care how low you are today, tomorrow you can go and make some money. And especially in today's society, where the way that things are, it's very easy to make money.
Yeah.
You just gotta basically get creative in your ways of doing it.
Right.
And just don't give up. Right?
Yeah.
I want to make one transition real quick. Because with that whole couples dynamic, I think it's super, super important that people understand that it's a give and it's still a give and take, even in business, when you're doing business together, right? Because she and I, like I said, we had the issues, we had the problems in our marriage when we were, because it bled into our business. Because, we had the tug of war with, like you say, I need you to say it like this. I need you to do it like this, right? But sometimes you got to let that go and just kind of let them find their way.
Yeah.
And then when she found her way in certain things, and I realized, like, man, she could handle it. She just needed the confidence in herself. So that support system that I had to give her, like you did, Brenda, it allowed her to flourish and grow into that space, and now she's killing it, right? So now we both know our roles in the business. So let's get back to, I want to get, because of the time, I want to get to the part that you was talking about with Brenda.
Yeah.
How does it all work in terms of someone wants to work with you or understand a little bit better and what you guys do? What does that look like in terms of to like get started into the whole process?
Yeah, no, me first. Okay. So I mean, my part of it would be to discuss your current financial situation, figure out what we can do and how to get it done. The phrase I like to use is, we understand where you are now, where you want to be, and help you build a plan to get there. So once we figure that out and actually figure out how the acquisition of the property is going to go, we'll partner with Brenda. And if you're building, or if you're in a position where we can move things into the property once we close, we'll get with Brenda to work on the design, how it's going to look. She'll draw up 3D maps of how everything is going to work together and how it's going to feel when you walk in.
Yeah. And then for me, it's more about, well, how much do you want to be involved? Because some people do like to be a part of the whole process, and say they want to build their own furniture, which we've had, like, again, going back to our first clients, they wanted to be involved. They wanted to come and help and figure out, what does it take to actually put together a cabin. And so, again, where is it that they are, where they're at? So if they absolutely have no time and they want me to do everything from beginning to end, from, design to, installing and getting all the items, I can do all of that, but it's all going to depend on, where they're at and what is it that they, they're wanting. So I have different, options for them. So maybe they just need design and they wanted to see what things look like. So then I could do like a virtual e-design and say, hey, this is, based on what you told me, here's some options, we can go with option A, B, or C, and here are some links, and they can actually purchase things themselves. But if, say, they just don't have the time for that, then I could do everything from beginning to end. So, and then just reach out. Yeah.
So the beginning process was to get the financing in order.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Right. Assuming we don't already have a property that we're going on for. So yeah, absolutely. You get pre-qualified, partner with your realtor, find the right property that fits what you wanted to do. Right.
Right. So the second thing, do they get with you guys to say, I want to go look at a property, or do you guys already have a list of properties?
So we don't find the properties specifically for clients. So my part specifically is the financing part, right? So if clients have a realtor that they know and like that they've been working with, absolutely we'll work with that realtor to find the specific property. Ideally in the short-term rental space, you want to have something that's or a realtor that knows short-term rentals and what's going to attract people, and be able to kind of underwrite what you want in a property, in terms of the physical things that you cannot change in a property, right? And then from there, once we find the property, Brenda will be able to build out the remainder.
Because there's two options. Maybe what if they wanted to build from the beginning? I mean, you still need a realtor,
Absolutely.
you know,
And you still need
and that's where I can come in and once they've, you know, decided what builder they want to, you know, they're going with, I can help them, you know, figure out if they wanted to need to know what colors and you know selections, then I can help with that. But say they already we'll say it's a cabin that's already built, there's already furniture, but they want what's called a refresh. They just want to make it look newer, more presentable. You know, you got to stand out. So you got to, you know, you want to bring in a designer to help you with that. Then there's that option as well. So, you know, just they would have to figure out, okay, do I want to build, or do I already want to get a cabin that is already built and there's furniture, but it just needs a couple of touches, you know?
Yeah.
So there's that too.
So how does someone find you? Because you're not a realtor. You're more on the finance.
Right. I'm on the finance side. So I do have my socials are out there, Team Moreno Mortgage on Facebook and Instagram. Or I'm more than happy to share my information with anybody. I'll give you my cell number.
So are you a realtor? I mean, do you work with realtors where they bring you the business?
Yeah. So I have
your business.
Exactly. The primary source of my business is from realtor partners.
Yes.
I'm working out a couple of different solutions. I'm doing more social media, doing more things that face forward out in front of people to go directly to consumers and build a business that way. So then I can refer out to other realtors that I know and other partners that I have.
So what I learned earlier by talking to you guys is that you don't necessarily have to have money to build or buy a cabin or whatever. You were telling me something about, I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm going to let you say it.
Arbitrage.
Right. Arbitrage. Yeah. So that's it's an alternative solution to start a short-term rental business, right? So if you're not in a financial position to purchase a cabin 10, 15, 20% down, or it doesn't have to be a cabin, any property, if you find the property owner that's okay with you subleasing that property on a nightly basis, you can start your short-term rental business without having to put up $50,000, $60,000, $75,000, right? And in the case of some broken boat properties, they're $1 million properties, right? Not everybody has $200,000 lying around. But when you work with with arbitrage, you can lease that property and then sublease it on a nightly rental basis. The whole objective being renting it out more on a nightly rent basis than you're paying to the landlord that you currently owe.
Interesting.
Yeah. But again, you have to find a landlord that is okay with that, because not everybody is okay with someone, leasing out their or renting out their home. So finding out, we just have to look and talk to people. That's really good.
So thinking about it from a numbers sense, right? Say it's a $800,000 property. 20% down is $160,000. Whereas if you're renting that property, putting a 1-year lease on it, or even longer, whatever you negotiate, typically it's going to be your first month's rent and a deposit. So if your rent is, say, $6,000, you're in that property for $12,000. Compare that to $160,000 for down payment plus closing costs. It's a drastic change that allows people to get into and start their business without having to put up with what would seem like someone's life savings.
Yeah. And without having to lose that business,
right?
If it doesn't go well.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out, if you're in it for only a year, you can give it back, and then you can move on to something else. So for us, like I said, we have it. We're doing a test. This is the first time that we've been doing it. And it's with Sunny Side Up, our newest cabin. It's been only a month. Anyway, so we're learning, like we're doing that. We talked to our friend, and because he was selling his cabin, and we were like, no, don't sell the cabin. We didn't want to. I mean, we would love to buy it, but right now we're not in a position to buy. So we were like trying to figure out other ways to be able to, say just get another property or get something, another, property in our portfolio. So we had heard, like I said, we had heard about arbitrage, and then we had heard about creative financing, and so the creative financing didn't work for us, but arbitrage did. So we talked to our friend, and we came up with a number that made sense for all of us, and then so we went in, and we redecorated a little bit, but you're not putting a lot of money. I think we were only in for less than $10,000, which is a lot better than
16.
Yeah. So and so again, we're leasing for a year, and then we'll see if it makes sense for us. Then we either continue to decide to buy it from him, or 3, let it go, and give it back. So yeah,
it's like your sister have a baby and you don't want any more kids, but you go and get the baby.
We just use for a couple of hours. So that's pretty much.
Instead of having a kid, you
That's good.
All their lives.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So just curious, man. The Broken Boat area.
Yeah.
Is it a hot area right now for people to be buying property or trying to do what you guys are doing out there? Is it?
Yeah, so the specific area we're in is called Ho Chi Town. It's right by Beavers Bend Lake, right? So Ho Chi Town is growing exponentially, and has been growing. COVID hit there really hard in terms of the amount of properties available and the amount of builders willing to build in that area. So we had a huge influx of properties being built, right? And as rates increase, you have fewer buyers, so the demand is changing in there. But it's still one of the top short-term rental places in the United States in terms of demand and the amount of people going into the area.
Really?
And then there's a lot now. I think we now have a casino.
Yes.
So that's bringing in some people. There's just a lot of new restaurants. It's growing. So, and it's it's only 3.5 hours away from here. So if you wanted a weekend getaway, it's right there.
Easy drive.
Well,
Beautiful drive too.
We're going to be calling you guys.
For sure.
Yes.
Man, I love this business. I love the concept, man. So you guys, I know you said you're going to take a little break until maybe August.
Yeah, since I really want to focus on my kids right now. We're finishing up one last cabin, which we have an install next week, and it's a beautiful cabin by the river. So I'm excited for that one. Every cabin that I decorated, I always get super excited, and it's yes, I get nervous because I'm like, okay, what if they don't like it? But once it's done, and then I see their faces and how much they love it, it makes me happy that, I did that, for them. So, but yeah. So one more cabin, take the summer off, and then we're back at it. Well, for me, David's continuing with this,
Yes.
mortgage. So
yeah. In that space, it really allows me to hit the gas pedal on what I'm doing and helping create more homeowners, create more investors, create more wealth for individuals. So I can really lean in while I know that the house is really taken care of.
Yeah,
and you're not having to drive trucks and
yes, for a while. Yes. Now he's licensed in Florida as well, so anybody wanting out there as well, he can.
That's right. Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. TeamMorenoMortgage.com.
And we're gonna have all of that in the show.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what would you say to someone who wants to get in and to do what you guys are doing, man? What would you tell them?
In the world of short-term rental, it is not for the weak. There's so much that can happen and will happen. If you're gonna freak out the second something happens, it's not for you. It takes grit, and it takes getting it done.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And then the other thing is treat it like a business. It's very much a business. It's not a set it and forget it type business. It's you're constantly paying attention. You're constantly doing marketing. You're constantly improving.
Yeah. listening to your guests, and because you get reviews, so just making sure that you're taking care of those needs. So
yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the dollars and cents of it, I don't think people realize how much flexibility they really have, right? Because when it comes to purchasing a house, you can leverage your 401k, which if you've been at your job for 10 years, especially in the last 10 years, you probably have more in your 401k than you realized.
Yeah.
You can leverage your 401k. You can leverage the equity in your house if you are a homeowner. If you bought your home before 2020, you have so much equity built up in your house that's not getting used. And that's great. If you don't have a plan for it, if you don't want to do anything with it, that's fine. But if you have a vision of acquiring other properties, we can leverage your equity towards purchasing a new property. So there's so many more options that people realize that are available.
Interesting.
Very.
I love it, man. We definitely got to put y'all information in show notes. What's the long-term goal for Team Moreno, man, with this whole real estate game?
We definitely want more properties, adding more to the portfolio. So like I said, we have the short-term rental. We may want to get a couple more. I definitely want a beach home somewhere. Right. I keep talking about that, but just figure out when the right time to buy is for us, because we definitely would want to own one. We would like to have a long-term rental as well. Just a variety. Just a variety. But
yeah, and I think it's like any investment portfolio, right? When we retire, I don't want to have to work to make an income, right? We can replace my income, replace both of our income with rental properties,
right?
As more of a little bit more passive, not fully passive, but more passive than what we're doing now. I think that's kind of the big end goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we do have a lot more. I would say we definitely have more flexibility now than what we had back.
Oh, totally.
10 years ago when, I was working for corporate. He was still
punching the clock.
Yeah. Yes. It's so much different. So different. So we're super happy and blessed that we were able to do this. So, but it takes a lot of work. So.
Yep.
So I have one question for you. And as a couple, what do you do to relax? Because you work so hard. And I think we don't do a good job at this. We may have people on dates and stuff like that, but we don't do a good job at this. There's been a couple who work, doing my thing, him doing his job, and then we come together to our business. What do you guys do to, I don't know, like keep the love, the smell going, and to continue to love and invest into your marriage relationship?
I like it.
No, that's hard because it's been hard because for the past couple of years we really haven't had we weren't doing the dates. We're still trying to do the dates.
Work at it.
But I'll say last year was our first year that we took a trip or a vacation of just us two, and we went to Mexico. That was the best thing ever. We were able to just reconnect, refresh, just talk about what does our next 5 years look like, 10 years, what do we want to do? It was just a time for just us two and not have to worry about kids, business, nothing. But, and so after that, we're like, we have to do this every year because it really is a reset. It's a reset button. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up was one couple's vacation, even if it's just over the weekend, even if it's just to Broken Bow, or it doesn't have to be Broken Bow. It could be Austin. It could be staying at the Omni downtown, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a huge trip. Now for us, that works. If we're in another country, you don't have to worry about nothing. But yeah, I think that's a huge thing for us is creating a space where it can be just us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And some of the, even then we talked about date nights and doing more scheduled out date nights. But there was a time last Tuesday where we were just like, you know what? I'm having a crap day. You're having a crap day. Let's just go sit in the hot tub. And we just did.
We enjoyed just us at home. Kids were at school. We just sat there for an hour and it worked out. Yeah. We felt so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, man, hey, man, we want to thank you guys, man, David and Brenda.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Sharing your story, man. I think it's going to really inspire a lot of people. One more time, I want you guys to even though we're going to put it in the show notes, like you mentioned, but how can people reach out to you if they wanted to get in this game? Maybe they got questions that they can ask you guys to kind of see if this is the right, path for them with their real estate portfolio.
Yeah. So my direct website is teammoreno.com. I am on Facebook and Instagram as Team Moreno Mortgage. And as well as Lux Cabin Furnishings.
Yes. And they could reach out via Facebook as well. I don't really have a website again. We're just so small. I'm so small that they could just reach out to me by Facebook or Instagram. So, and I'm under Brenda Moreno. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, guys, man, thank you so much again for sharing this. Being a part of Couples Connect with us today, man, I think is going to really inspire a lot of people to want to get in the game, or maybe at least make them curious about, the things that you guys are doing, to see how can you do it, right? So thank you guys so much, man.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
And we want to thank everybody, man, once again for tuning in, and actually listening to these stories that we're going to continue to bring to you to kind of let you know marriage is something that you can make happen, no matter if you're in business together or if you're dealing with finances, kids, life, you can still make it work, man. So we thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Couples Connect with Kevin and
Tanya.
Yeah, so stay tuned, man. Like, share, and continue to stay locked in, because this Couple Connect. Yeah.
Bye.
Fade.